Hello there, and welcome to episode 3 of the Unafy PvP podcast. My name is Merlin, and joining me today is Sox, or Soxfire. Thank you so much for coming along, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well today. Today we have the absolute pleasure of sharing some time with a remarkable individual who we'll introduce shortly. But a quick reminder of who we are. If you are a first-time or returning listener, we are Unafy. What Unafy is, it's kind of like it's a coalition. It's made up of several PvP communities, with everyone sharing the same goal of advancing the PvP scene across North America. So it's kind of like a joint partnership, which we all share our commitment to fostering kind of like healthy competition or giving mutual support for each other. Make sure that if you haven't already looked at it, to go to the unafy.car.co. All the links will be in the description or maybe in the chat somewhere along the way. So make sure to look at that for all things related to PvP in general. Shout out to our partners, which is Argo, PV Primal, Revival, PNC, and CC Madness. But first, Sox, how are you doing today, dude? How's it going?
I'm good. I'm pumped. I've got several 100,000 milligrams of caffeine running through my system. I'm psyched. We were told not to fanboy too much over our guest. That is... I don't know how that's gonna go.
That's likely not gonna happen, but I promise we will try. Well, since we're talking about her already, this is someone who's honestly just general like positive atmosphere. Their commitment to excellence is what I would say. It's made 14 or PvP in 14, specifically Light Party, just that much more enjoyable. She's a streamer, she's a show host, she's a caster and content creator. You can find her doing a lot of amazing work, and it doesn't just cover only 14 actually. She platforms in other domains such as casting for the World Race in WoW. She does Guild Wars 2 content as well. She's a co-host on her own podcast. It's the 8th Rat Radio, if I'm correct. And on top of all that, she also just recently did an amazing performance at the EU CCRC. But without further ado, please join me in welcoming Rookuri, and let's play her highlight reel.
Jeez, man.
We love you, chat. Sweet Dollar T. Maeve is able to go back, get an elixir, come into the fight. Still no sweat. The team isn't down and that balance is out. Midori, however, falls with that limit break unused, which could have been, if they had been able to coordinate or just get enough people there, a way to dislodge this. As it is, 60% in favor of Sweet Dollar T in overtime. I don't know how Diagnosis is still holding their own, but they are not going to give this up easily. Hello and welcome back, Pilk drinkers, non-Pilk drinkers, and everybody else caught confused and worried in between. It's great to see you. They're going to have to bait these larger fists that are going to appear that are either blue or yellow. Many of the groups are trying to do these in pairs, and it actually looks like they're starting to line them up a little bit more. If I have this, then you need to get your own Pilk situations up in here. I'm just saying, this was my plan all along, chat. Sam, I don't want to say this was an evil plan that I had, but you and I are finally alone. Why you make us drink so much Pilk, Sam? And knowing its legacy in Final Fantasy, I was just so blown away. Here's the look away on the edge of the arena, so they're positioning and moving around that. And then obviously we get these detonations of these orbs, which many of you will probably recognize even from things like the Vault and previous X's. They have to navigate those tiny little slivers. Arthas is just smiling. He's like in shock. You can see it setting in. The White Mage limit break there does do some work. Komachi and moving on polished off original, weakened pretty severely by it. So although they fell back, we're now seeing them play around these corners, focusing down original, cutting them off from anybody over on the crystal, and then pushing back onto it. It was so much fun to get to hang out with all of you. Enjoy the rest of Race to World First. Keep your eyes peeled because I think we have a Razageth kill on the horizon, and I hope you enjoy every second. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned and enjoy until the casters for Echo return.
Sheesh! There she is.
The amount of talent in this room right now.
She's a pro.
It's all you. The talent is really just all of you. I just kind of like snuck in through the back door sort of deal. Mm-hmm.
Everyone, this is Rookuri. Rookuri, hello. Thank you for joining us. Wow. So you've had a pretty crazy couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, that's one way to put it. I still feel like I'm in a haze coming back, but no, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Hi, everybody, whether you're watching live on Twitch or listening after the fact. And thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about everything that's been happening, including EU CCRC.
So
Yeah,
we
massive
did.
congratulations on that.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, so weeks ago we did our CCR thing on the Revival channel. And you didn't know? Did you know at the time that you were going to be the caster for this, or for EU CCRC? I mean,
I knew for a good while, but I probably not longer than like the last not even 5-ish months. I'm not sure. God, honestly, I can't even tell you the entire like turnaround from all of it has been totally wild, and I can't believe that it's done. But yeah, I mean, we knew for a little bit. I don't think at the time, it had not yet been publicly announced, I think, though, as I try to like search through my memory.
what was it like? Did you get like an email, or did somebody like message you on Discord, and like how was it getting that call for it? Like, what was that like?
I mean, it was honestly, as cheesy as it sounds, a dream come true. I never thought when I started playing 14, I've loved the Final Fantasy series for so long. I always wanted to play one of the MMO versions, but even though I bought 11, I couldn't actually play it because I thought the system requirements were more of a system suggestion, and bought it regardless of the fact that at the time as a child I did not have a PC that could run it. So 14 was really my first experience being able to come in and do the Final Fantasy MMO experience, and I never thought when I started out there that I would end up here. So when I was contacted about it and they were saying, yes, we've reviewed things and we would really like to have you come, and we had a meeting and chatted about it, I genuinely was just, it was one of those things where your mind is blown, because to be on stage and be surrounded by the people that make this game happen and the players internationally that I share this world with was something I never imagined. And yet at the same time, as I got more into content creation, I hoped so much for. So it really was incredible, and I definitely would not have been there without the help as well of my co-commentator Lithy, who's a huge support for me even outside of this, and somebody that I just love co-commentating with in every game. So it was wild. It was an incredible opportunity. I keep saying that. It was wild because like honestly my brain just keeps going back to that.
Yeah, no, it really does sound like a dream come true. Like, honestly.
You even got like the insider experience, right? Because they not only like flew you out to participate on stage like in front of the London audience, but you also got the chance to spend some time at the Square Enix offices, right?
We did. I mean, it's incredible to me how much goes into planning Fanfests. I always assumed with my background, so I was in university, I was in theater and voice, so productions aren't anything that I am a stranger to, but even so, coming in and working with the team up through the quarterfinals, up through actually London, going into the offices, was such a humbling experience, because my gosh, the community team is an incredible powerhouse, and just seeing how much passion they pour into everything that they do, especially for an event of this size, was phenomenal. And so when we arrived, they had said, we are still working on a lot of things, and there's, we're rehearsing and practicing. Would you like to come in? And of course I was like, I'm not going to say no. Yes, I would, we would love to, and get to see the offices and get to, actually kind of get more of a peek about how it all works. And it was so wonderful that they extended that so that we could also, not only practice, but get to have some fun and see this office that I've seen in pictures a ton of times, but never been to myself.
We actually put some of those. Can we put those on screen?
Yeah. Here's you and Lithy hanging out there.
Yeah, I will say the offices have incredible hot chocolate. Those machines that you can see like to the right of us do coffee and stuff, and they make really good hot cocoa.
That's that's the specific thing you remember the most.
I mean, there's just the hot cocoa. All the rest of it didn't matter at all. No, it was wonderful. I mean, you can see in the background they had a lot of Final Fantasy 16 stuff. Obviously, they had just recently had a media event there in the offices themselves for that as well. And the sword that was on display at the Tower of London had made its way back to the offices. But there's a ton of little 14 things all over, and there's, little everything from like the game awards that they've won to little pieces of merch and stuff that are all over the offices. There were also a lot of jokes made about the fact that off screen, you can't see it in the picture, there are a bunch of like language translation books that are on one of the shelves, and apparently nobody has any idea how they got there, why they're there. They just sit there. There's like 2 duplicates of Spanish language translation, but with Google and stuff, there's like no use to use them anymore.
Right.
They're just still there in the offices with a bunch of the merch. So,
Polya, could you pull up the one with the sword? I want to see this one. Tell us about this sword here. What's going on?
Yeah, so they have a bunch of props from various conventions or events. They also had a bunch of these sort of PvP themed weapons at the actual Fanfest that weren't in the offices while we were visiting. But when we were visiting, they obviously had the Time to Kill Chaos sword, and they also had Squall's, a replica of Squall's Buster sword. Squall, Cloud's Buster sword. And it's just super cool. Like, one of them, the Buster sword is really heavy, and the Chaos one is made of foam, so it's just very, very arduous to lift up because it's so top heavy, but it's foam, so it's not like you're dying or you're gonna like topple over or anything.
Right. Yeah, so overall it was fun, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Overall, like, was it your first time there in London? Was there any trouble like along the way, like be it the weather or traveling?
No, so funnily enough, I actually lived in London for a year and a half, and this was about 9 years ago or so. I was there doing an acting conservatory program, and lived in a flat actually just off of Edgware Road for anybody who might be listening from EU or from London. And so this was amazing because I had not been back since then. And so we took some extra time. We went out a week early, also so that I could adjust to the time zones and things, so that wouldn't be something that was like hindering anything with like the casting or energy levels for Fanfest. Right. Yeah, we just spent extra time there. We got to see a bunch of stuff, go to a bunch of my old haunts, hang out with Lithy and their wife, and my partner was with us too. So it was so much fun. It was honestly a trip that I had wanted to take for ages, and being back in London was just wonderful, let alone getting to see it from the perspective of then also getting to do this event and, go to the Square Enix offices and stuff too. So it was great. It was a great time.
Yeah, really. Did you go to the NA Fanfest?
I did. That was actually my first Fanfest. So really? I was at the NA one. Yeah, I had tickets. So I had a ticket secured to go to the NA Fanfest that got canceled because of the pandemic. Oh. So this was the first one that I actually got to go to in person. And there's been a lot of talk online about which one was better, NA or EU. I mean, they both were wonderful, and both teams put so much work into it. I definitely can see a lot of the takeaways that came from, I think, the NA one in the EU one, and overall, I think the scale and coordination and sort of planning for the guests with the EU Fanfest was better in my opinion, but no, the NA one was wild. I'd also never been to Vegas, so that was I said it again, wild. It was wild.
Yeah, like seeing the pictures of places and then seeing it in person, or like people too, like people we play the game with. I'm sure that was pretty weird, seeing people that either through content creation or seeing their characters in game and then seeing like the person behind the character in real life.
Yeah. Did you all go? Did any of you go to NA?
I got the chance to go to the NA Fanfest, and I'm not afraid to say it, but the EU one was significantly better, just off the pictures alone. I wish I had the chance to go to the EU one, because honestly, just everything through and through looked 1,000 times better. But I mean, it is.
I almost did.
You almost did?
Almost. It was a disqualification angle for me.
Oh no! Right. Oh, I'm so
God.
sorry to bring up such terrible memories. No.
Oh no, it's all right. They're nice, wonderful memories. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least you got a message back from them. I got ghosted.
Oh god.
Oh man, oh no. And yeah, so you also got to meet you met a lot of people, but I know one specific person you got to meet. What was that like? The
who?
the
You
big
mean...
dog.
Oh, yes, I did get to meet a cosplayer dressed as one of the Yoshida-san. Yes, I did get to meet. No, I did get to meet Yoshida-san. It's so funny because you can just see how much the whole team really, really cares. And that's kind of been a recurring theme, that even backstage, the amount of just attention, diligence, care, even like with Yoshida-san, so the picture that's up for anybody who is just watching, in addition to listening to the podcast here now or in the future, the time he took with each of the PvP teams, and then afterwards being very gracious, signing just about anything they wanted signed, taking pictures with everybody. He wanted to talk to all of the teams. He really was invested, and it was an incredible moment when, he came up and shook my and Lithy's hand, and we got to take a picture with him, because, I mean, he is such a prolific figure, and the amount of work that he's put into this game and bringing it back from the brink. I mean, of course, it takes a team, but truly without somebody that is such a visionary and such an incredibly hard worker at the helm, we've seen how not having strong leadership can affect game development in so many other areas. And I think it can't be understated, his role in that. And he is wonderful. I mean, he really does care. It's different, right? Because backstage there is the language barrier. There are a lot of different things, and he's kind of surrounded by a fleet of Japanese employees at all times. So even in the rehearsals and things, right, it's not like he is just, chatting it up with everybody in English. He goes through the translators, and there is oftentimes, a bit of a hurdle where there's just a lot of people around him, and he's an incredibly important person. So, it's not like you always see him like you do, sitting on the floor, things like that, watching PvP, or, he's definitely in business mode, but it's impressive to see him still there, handling it, doing all the things that he does, all the appearances, and still having so much passion for the community, both in front of the cameras and off.
How was his English? Did you get the chance to maybe talk with him for a little bit, or with the translator?
We didn't get to talk too much. And most of our conversing went through other employees who had been, part of their job is that they are those who are relaying either the wishes of the Japanese community team or the Japanese side of the company. So, I wonder about this too, honestly. I have no true definitive answer as to how much English he speaks, because I have this feeling that he understands much more than he himself kind of lets on, right?
Right.
He does. It's not like he steps off stage and then starts speaking to everybody in English, right? He very much still communicated entirely through the translators and things like that, with the exception of a few exchanges here or there. So we didn't get to talk to him too much. He's incredibly busy, and his almost every second is planned or booked or things like that over the course of the weekend. So it's very difficult to just kind of pull him aside when there's just so much that's pulling him in many directions. But we did get to have a bit of an exchange and be with him at the rehearsals, which was really cool.
So you got to do... That's... A lot of people say you shouldn't meet your heroes, right? But it probably wasn't anything like that. It was probably a nice, more positive experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's jokes to be made well, would I tell anyone even if they weren't nice because I want more opportunity?
No,
really,
sorry.
No. Really, really, truly. I'm just teasing. Honestly, from the most honest part of myself, like I said, I was really incredibly touched by how much all of the people there genuinely care. I mean, even just so we worked with Kevin and Julia, who were the hosts for PvP, and the amount of time we would just spend talking with them, and it was never anything, like, oh, this is just work. It was something that came from such a place of passion for them, and the amount of hours they were pouring into it. And Kevin himself is a former PvP. I mean, he still PvPs, but he really loved PvP. He was a player before he was an employee. And there is just so much passion all around. And while I have no doubt that there probably are some employees where it's like, it is just a job, and that's totally fine, every person that we interacted with, including the actual teams, including Yoshida, right? Even though he was extremely busy, and it is something he's fitting in amidst a million other appearances. I mean, every single person was just so genuine and passionate about the game and so excited to meet the community. We got to hang out with the voice actors for Alphino, Alice, and Thancred in English. And it was the same thing. They genuinely loved it. Like, they were attending all the events. They were super excited. They were talking to every fan. They had nothing but kind things to say, even when we were chatting at the media mixer. And it's humbling. It really is, because I think the meet your heroes trope can absolutely be true, but to see people that are genuinely passionate, even when you have no doubt they must have times when they are exhausted or they're just over it or whatever, it really was incredible, both on stage or off.
Oh, man.
I'm sure you're already asking yourself, like, okay, when are we doing this again? Would you like to see maybe like more official tournaments instead of it being like once a year? Like maybe like a World Cup eventually, something of the sort?
Oh, don't even, please. I would die for that. I mean, Lithia and I were literally talking about it. We talked about it with all the players on the teams too. I would love to see them do more. And something like a World Cup, a world tournament, would be phenomenal, because I think that's one area. Yoshida-san has talked quite a bit about how he has admired much of Blizzard's kind of model structures. I mean, of course, as 14 players, we all know every company, there's a lot of discussion and feedback, and WoW is one that a lot of times the community rolls their eyes at a bit, but WoW set the precedent for many, many things in the MMO sphere, whether that be things like literally raiding in MMORPGs, to things like what does it mean to then branch as an MMO into something like esports entertainment or larger scale events. They really were some of the first to do anything like that. Our World Race events are only because we really saw this be something that emerged out of World of Warcraft. And because of that, I think that he is very aware of the fact that there is a venue for a more company side engagement, or at least professional engagement, with things like the live streamed content and entertainment content that can come out of MMORPGs. So my great hope is that, given, I think, some of the very positive response to CC, and I think given the fact that it is very watchable, it's very fun, it's very watchable, and Overwatch, which clearly it drew inspiration from, right? Like, Overwatch right. Also had a huge esports league and things. So yes, long story short, sorry, you all have to bear with me rambling.
No, keep going. We love it.
Long story short, I think that they are very aware of this. I think and hope that it's something that they are even considering. And I encourage everybody as well, just from the viewer side, watch the events when they happen, because I think if they see that there is traction for it, that's something that I would be baffled if they hadn't considered. I really hope we get more of it, although the community does an amazing job doing other tournaments and things in the meantime.
I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly the goal that I set out to do every time I do a tournament, where I do all my little graphics and things like that. I want them to see it and be like, oh, they actually take this seriously. Like, our community actually cares. And so that's exactly what we set out to do. I'm sure that's what Plus One was also going for, and I think he succeeded very well. So yeah, I'm glad you said that.
I mean, I'm going to assume that you all want to see them do stuff like that too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be incredible, for sure. And I think it would also just give even more stuff in between FanFests, right? Especially as we see the game continue to grow and the interest for ways to connect with the community and the entertainment and outside of just the game, right? To be able to still connect with that. I really think that, especially given the fact that so many folks, even with bigger fan fests than ever, still weren't able to attend. So having other events that they can look forward to throughout the year, particularly things that Square Enix is directly involved with in some way, would be a huge boon to even just making it so that, getting into a fan fest is not so make or break for many folks' experiences and being able to connect with the community and the sort of like entertainment fun factor of it, because it's so limited right now.
Right.
We do have a fan question real quick from Ariane here.
This
is directed at you, Rookuri. Yeah. What do you think that Square Enix should do so the 14 community kind of can, that she mentions, to stop rolling their eyes at PvP less? Because obviously, like, there's always this fog or stigma for like people entering PvP. They always tell them to stay away from it.
Oh my gosh. I think, and I'm sure you all have thoughts on this too, 100%, but from my perspective, I think it's a many-layered thing. I think that 14 is doing quite a bit to try to re-engage the community, which isn't easy. I think especially coming from a franchise where you have such a focus on, the RPG, the single-player experience, things like that, and in a community environment in which a greater focus on PvE content and story oftentimes is overbearing on something like PvP, right? There's a lot that they're up against, but revamping PvP, making it something that is more hands-on accessible and understandable. I should say accessibility features within 14 as a whole still have a long way and a lot of improvements that they could do, but making it something that at least generally you come in and it's like, push crystal, get crystal to end, you did it. get crystal farthest, you win it. Having that kind of streamlined, easily graspable concept that then can be iterated upon is really good, as well as, the classes, as well as the reward track, which I think was phenomenal to put in, because that gives a much clearer cut incentive to engage and work towards things, not just like farm currency for one new top and then leave forever. I really think those things are good things. I think that, yes, as I've seen some suggestions even in chat, right? Things like tutorials, things like updating a lot of that. I mean, there is a tutorial. It's okay. I think even having something like team play, which I know is the big hot button, like, oh, team play, you say, that everybody talks about with CC. But having something like being able to group queue in whatever way, I think would also empower a lot of players to come in. But all of that said, I think the other side of this as well is very much that it is a community mindset too. So, Sox, you were talking about trying to make tournaments and things impressive, trying to, get people engaged in it. I think it's also about fostering spaces in PvP that are welcoming to its many diverse players, about, not lording knowledge over others, but instead making this something that is an extension of, hey, this is really fun. We should do this. And there are amazing community, right? Like, there are amazing community events. Like, I love the Crystalline Conflict Roulette. I think that's such a great atmosphere for people to come into. I love a lot of those tournaments and, community things. But, like, we as a community have to make PvP a space that people want to be in. And we have to, like, actively reach out to players who don't connect with it. And we need to make it something where, the greatest compliment coming out of the CCRC EU casting that I had was when folks would come up to me and be like, I don't like PvP, I've never been interested in PvP, but hearing you commentate it made me realize, like, oh, this is how it plays. Oh, like, and then this happens, and that happened, and this, and that's actually really exciting. And oh, my class can do this in it, and we could, like, that's how a fight pans out. These are the strategies. And that was amazing. But we have to remember that, like, folks that don't know anything about PvP are probably just going to hear that it's cutthroat and you try to kill each other. And they're not going to realize that part of what makes PvP so fun is that, like, if you are tired of the scripted fights in PvE, go play against real human beings. Like,
Yeah,
go play against
yep.
real people. Because it's dynamic, it's ridiculous, whether you win, whether you lose, whether your team's a disaster, whether it's a victory, whether it's... You don't know what to expect in the same way, and although you learn the strategies and you figure out how to continue to expand your knowledge in it, there's an excitement factor that is so worth sharing. So that's my long sermon on why everybody should PvP.
She was spitting facts.
I'm glad you said excitement factor and kind of just like the beginner PvP person who doesn't know what's going on. To repeat the excitement factor part, that's kind of like your job as a caster, which is going to lead to my next question. I'm sure there was plenty of people there at the EU Fanfest that had never touched Light Party or just gone into a casual queue for Crystalline Conflict in general. What was it like? Like, what was your mindset whenever you went in and you were casting on stage with the London audience? Was like, did you make it a mission? Where I know that obviously you've not only casted. Well, you've casted many, like LunarCon, Pausing Claws, Wolves League, the list, your roster, your list is pretty endless here. But did you feel the energy from the audience while you were there and casting alongside Lithy?
Oh, yes. I mean, one, Lithy can get any audience excited about anything, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride. No, I mean, we love working together as a team, and yeah, you could absolutely feel, especially the audience in particular, they really loved all the teams, but Fish really captured a lot of people's hearts. And as well, the overtime. Yes, the woo! Like, the overtime with Bubon's Ranch, too, many folks were really excited. But you could hear everyone. I mean, we had that machinist comp that was run, and when there would be, even though, like, they didn't win with it, right? Anytime you'd get that one shot from the machinist or the one shot from the samurai, the audience would go wild because it was so exciting and engaging. You're like waiting for that moment, and then the snipe happens. And I mean, yeah, by the end of it, we even saw that, like, the audience had grown. There were even more people. People were getting really excited about it. And one of the things, even from NA FanFest, that I loved, because obviously this time I was on the stage, but at NA FanFest I was in the audience. And I was literally sitting with a group of people that had never played PvP before, or this particular iteration of PvP. And I had one of them say to me, like, there's no way I'll understand any of this, and, like, that's fine. And I'm just here because, we're gonna hang out until the next thing. And I was just like, okay, let me explain the basics, the absolute basics of this, right? So here's our goal. Overtime is something that you're gonna want to watch. Limit breaks are the, like, big plays. So, like, really keep an eye on the limit breaks. Really keep an eye on how much time is on the clock. These are, like, the absolute fundamentals to just understand where the stakes get big in PvP, right? They're your just benchmarks in the flow of action and its peaks and falls. And it was amazing to me because within 2 matches, the people around me were literally starting to call out. They were like, wait, hold on, but he's got a limit break, so he's gonna... And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And everybody was so excited, and you could hear as it started to click. And it seems to be the same thing with EU. When it comes to, like, the earlier part of that kind of question, when it comes to, like, me as a caster, considering the audience, that was definitely something that Lithy and I also planned specifically, right? Where we spoke even ahead of time in our preparation about what demographic of audience will we have. Yes, there will be a portion of audience that will be veteran players in PvP with a long history going back, but there will probably be a far greater majority that are those folks who don't know anything about any of it. So the storylines of the different teams, giving specific things that were about their compositions, but also about their personalities, their history, trying to frame those out, were all things that we spent a good deal of time preparing. We spoke with the teams about as well, took notes, made our spreadsheets, all that good stuff, so that hopefully we could help communicate the greater story of the event, both about the players themselves as individuals, but also about the actual action of the matches and the unique strategies that each team brought. So we tried very hard, and hopefully it was something that resonated, and it seemed like the audience responded really well to it. And in particular, hearing many people come up to us afterwards and say, I was cheering for this team when they knew nothing about the team before, or I was really excited for Fish, or I was really hoping, right? I think at that point it really felt like, hey, you know what? Even if there were areas where, of course, you're always like, we could do this better or that better, that felt like it was a big win, and I was really happy about that.
Absolutely. You guys even coordinated your outfits, too, for the red and the blue. I loved that. I know a lot of people did. I was a big fan of the red suit. Here we have a picture of you up on stage. It was scary at first, right? Like,
oh yeah, at first, yeah. No, it was scary the whole. It's nerve-wracking. I am one of those people who, we were talking about nerves even before the podcast started, and I have always been, back to my theater days even, the kind of person that is just super nervous up until the moment I step foot on the stage. And then it's just like, it all falls away. And that was definitely the case. I did not get an uninterrupted night of sleep the entire week before the event.
Oh my god!
I was a huge nervous wreck. As we were walking backstage, I said to Lithy, is it okay if I put my arm like, can we just walk like arm in arm? Can we
man.
And having a friend there and somebody that I just trust and respect so much was an incredible help in that as well. Looking fly together. I mean, it's a big, it just makes you feel good to be like, I feel like we have this all pulled together, even to the outfits. We all know glamour's the real end game. And then to be able to step on that stage together.
Yeah, I was wondering, you were electric up there. I know there were some like technical issues happening.
Oh god, and the stalling.
Honestly, yeah. So there was some stuff happening, but the demeanor with which you were speaking and kind of like commanding the whole stage up there, it was just it was wonderful, and how professional. I think that's what a lot of people admired. I admired it a lot, of the demeanor with which you spoke and just like comforted the audience and showed them PvP. That's always something I've admired. So that was cool to see.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's honestly just incredible to be up there. So yes, we did have there were quite a few technical issues. There always are, no show ever goes perfect. Yeah.
Every live event, always something goes wrong. So on these monitors, sorry.
Oh no,
I was going to ask what you can see on those monitors.
Oh, that we're casting at?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were very lucky to have a wonderful Square Enix employee, Thibaut, who was our in-game cameraman for this particular event, and he did a wonderful job. So we had that feed from him in the matches, and he would jump through as we were making calls. He was honestly so wonderful. Huge shout out to him. He was amazing, because he would even ask, even in the quarterfinals, even before that, what's your feedback? What is more helpful? What perspective? And he, just like every other Square Enix employee, really, really was very, very passionate about making sure that it was the best that he could do. So we would see that during the matches. We did, obviously, as you all, I'm sure know, we had some technical issues, and for a bit at the beginning, my monitor was not showing all the matches. It was like showing.
No, wait, what?
Wait, what was it showing?
It was showing like some of the camera pans and things that were like being done with like the audience. And the most exciting point, I think, for Lithy and I was, as I think some were able to see, the screens had an issue where they like weren't displaying things. So on our end, after that was resolved on the big screens, on our screens, there was a brief part during one match where they went completely black. And we couldn't see anything. So you couldn't actually see this in the broadcast, from what I know, but the audience saw it and commented on it afterwards. We got up from our seats and we turned around and sat on the desk to commentate on the big screen behind us. But honestly, I mean, like I said, things happen. Stuff happens when you're on big events like this and you're coordinating so much stuff. Like, even if it had been flawless, there would have been something, you know? And as it was, with some of the technical issues, we're happy to do what we can to help facilitate making it as smooth as possible regardless. And sometimes it's honestly even more thrilling if things go a little wrong, because it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Man.
What are your thoughts, like in terms of the participation or like just the teams that showed up for the EU CCRC?
My thoughts on it. We chatted even before the podcast just a little bit about this topic.
Just a little bit.
I ultimately, I would love to see the full EU community be able to participate in these events. And that's the big crux of it, right? Like, having everyone, all the teams, every country. For those who might not know this, or maybe you weren't aware, you're not an EU, there were a very limited selection of countries that were able to actually join in. And from my greater understanding of this, it specifically has to do with the fact that, unlike those of us who live in the States or anywhere else where this is like a more larger scale unified kind of thing, there are in many other places very strict country by country rules or restrictions, particularly on things like prize money that is given. Mm-hmm. This is even something that you'll see oftentimes for giveaways, where I know there are certain parts of Canada that are excluded from giveaways, not just with Square Enix, with all companies, all giveaways, all Twitch drops, all whatever it is, right? So this is something that is a sort of legal issue, and while there are ways to work around it, from my general broad understanding, and again, this isn't coming like directly from any specific source or anything like that, it's because of this prize pool that countries like Italy were not able to participate. The cash money made it so that they legally could not be a part of it or receive the prize were they to win. Now, all of this to say, EU is a huge, expansive region, and it includes materia. And while there's a shared English-speaking language there, we definitely felt the lack of presence of those countries and players. And I had many players remark to me, even those who were able to attend Fanfest, in other capacities, say, I really wish I had been able to participate. And I really wish that was something I could have done. So ultimately, I would love for Square Enix to find a way to make this work, because you aren't representing all of your European players and the European scene if those players can't participate in large-scale competitions like this. But of course, you want to incentivize with things like prizes and prize pools, which are a huge part of esports. And it's tough with materia, having to play with NA, right? Or not NA, with EU, because of the time differences, because of the server differences, because of the latency differences. Right. It's not a perfect solution, and I really hope that they keep figuring this out. Now, I know you all had some thoughts, though, on how they could make this something that would be a little bit better, perhaps, or include more countries.
Yeah, honestly, I feel that foregoing giant prizes for, if that would mean more people were allowed to participate, I feel like that would be acceptable, honestly.
Yeah,
like
even just in-game
massive
items,
prize pools.
The money.
Yeah,
the money's nice, but it puts so much restrictions. Yeah.
It does, and I mean, even if you're just running more tournaments frequently that have I don't know if something like an in-game title or in-game reward is quantified the same way as like an exchange of good. My guess would be no. Or something like that. I know other games even have done something where, not that this is perfect either, because there's a lot of discussion and bigger discussion about this, but having like statues that appear in a place of the winning team or something, right?
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
Game itself.
Yeah.
I think that's something to consider for them, because I understand why they can't legally do things like this when there's a prize pool, but it doesn't feel good for the players for sure.
Yeah, well, like when we run tournaments, we'll give out like 500 million gil and stuff like that, and then the teams that win will be like, oh yeah, Gil, great. It'll just sit on someone's account and we'll just have it there.
Hey, I'll take
like, and people will play.
I'll take the
PvP
Gil.
players are very passionate. Oh yeah, true.
I'll take that, Gil. I don't craft. I'm poor.
yeah. Oh man.
Oh my God. Well,
No, I mean,
it's
it is. Sorry, I'm sorry. It is tough. It is tough, right? And oftentimes with sponsorships and things like that, part of how companies support in esports productions is through putting up things like prize pools. Part as well of how you compensate players for the time and energy that they put into preparing for something like this, practicing for something like this, is a prize pool. I mean, of course, if they aren't like with an esports org that is paying them, right? So it's something where the prize pool, I totally understand why it's there, and I am genuinely like really happy for the teams that won it, because that's huge, getting some money back. And I know, it's been a rough handful of years for many folks. So like, that's a great prize, but there are other ways to also reward and include folks if the monetary side is something that is causing a huge hurdle.
Absolutely. And
hopefully one day they reach a solution, right? So
yeah. Just one where we could get everybody involved. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a break, like a 2-minute break, just so we don't kill you, because we've been asking you a lot of questions. Yeah. So.
We'll be back in, 2 minutes? We'll be right
2
back.
minutes.
Don't go anywhere.
All right. Woo!
Hello. Welcome
We're back. What's up?
Okay. Now that we've had a little break here. We realize that we've been talking a lot for quite a while. What feels like 20 minutes is not exactly 20 minutes. So we're going to try to kind of fast forward some of our questions here. But Rook, I wanted to ask you, what was your standout memory from your entire trip there, be it with your time with Square Enix or with Yoshida-san or just your entire stay there?
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. To just pick one.
You could pick two.
Oh, thank you. That's very thank you. I feel like this is, it's not a cop-out, but it's something that you oftentimes hear folks coming from Fanfest saying, which is genuinely that I feel as though the highlight for me of everything is just being with everyone. It's incredible, and everyone, including the staff, the voice actors, Yoshida-san, the PvP teams. It's the weekend itself is a conglomeration of these little moments and memories. Somebody stopping us to say that they loved PvP, someone chatting with me about Aetherite Radio and how grateful they are about the LGBTQIA plus representation, and that I myself am an LGBTQIA plus player, and how much that meant to them and how seen they felt with some of the topics we've talked about, to Fish, who so kindly gave us Tim Tams from Australia, which I'd never tried. They're delicious. They're amazing. To Bubon's Ranch, where the day that we were all leaving, we had talked about their mascot, and we had talked, I just have loved meeting all of the teams, and they had told me that they had made shirts with their mascot, the little stuffed wolf that they have on them, and they had them, and I didn't know this, they had them with them, and one of them ran down as we were all leaving, and the PvP players some of them were tearing up and crying even as they got in their cabs to go to the airport or wherever it was, and they came down with this shirt and gave it to me, and let me give Bubon a huge hug and give them all hugs, and shaking Yoshida-san's hand, having dinner with the community team, meeting so many wonderful folks at the Media Mixer, meeting a lot of creators that I have been friends with for years, but have never been in Europe to meet them with the pandemic and everything else. Absolutely incredible. Being with Liffy in those moments backstage, the walk that we took from the media room where we'd been preparing to the stage itself, stepping out there, facing the audience at the end, right? It's 1,000 little moments of interactions with folks. Somebody gave me, oh my gosh, she was so sweet. She gave me an Elpis flower, and I have been wanting to have an Elpis flower literally since they released the one on the store. And it was just, I teared up, and she was sharing with me words about how much this game had given her hope, and it was just so profoundly true for myself as well. So all of this to say, it was so many moments spent with folks that I think really are the biggest takeaway. And whether it was huge people like Yoshida-san, I've wanted to get a picture with this man and meet this man for so long.
Man.
Or it was any other thing. I mean, this was such a silly one. As we were walking backstage, the night of the piano concert, before we were on stage, Keiko stepped out from her dressing room while we were backstage in her dress. And it was she just was so stunning. And then we saw her come out on the stage, after that. And again, sorry, there's a million little things, but it was all those moments. It was not one thing. It was everything that encompasses our community in this game that we love. And just being there with people, smiling with them, laughing with them, hugging them after years of never meeting in the flesh and hug emoting each other in the game. It is one of the most special things that I've ever felt.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. Well, it kind of sounds like you're living out what I dreamed of. What I dreamed it would be. Oh man. Now, we have a lot of Wolves League fans in the chat. I wanted to ask you about that. So, was that your first time getting started with PvP? And when you started with that, did you expect it to ever turn into this?
Oh my gosh.
Like going to EU CCRC?
No. I mean, amazing question. No, I didn't expect. That was my first time casting PvP in 14. So I'd been a part of the 14 World Race for a bit. Actually, my first ever cast was with Mogtalk and with Frosty for the 14 World Race. And from there, I was reached out to by, at the time, although they have now separated in two different guilds, BDGG, for the WoW Race to World First, which was very daunting because I did play WoW, but I never made
the information.
WoW.
Yeah.
So, weeks and weeks and weeks of preparation for that, and spreadsheets and, dungeon journals, and learning everything that I possibly could about it. And it was the same thing with PvP because I had played, I enjoy PvP. I actually, when I started streaming, I was a competitive Overwatch streamer. It was just nobody.
Really?
Yeah, nobody remembers this anymore. I made it to Grandmaster, and I really loved playing it. But I hadn't engaged with the PvP as actively in 14 until they did the CC revamp. And Plus reached out to me and just said, "Hey, I saw you doing these other casts. I saw you on various world races and things, and I think you would be great at this. Do you want to commentate it?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" So we just came in and went for it. And casting PvP is definitely very different from casting things like world race or PvE content. So I still feel like, even as I stepped foot on the CCRC stage, I still am on my learning journey on perfecting it and really trying to make it something that is the most responsive and dynamic for those who are watching. So,
well, I think that coming from me, I do all of these tournaments. I've commentated several tournaments on my own. I want to say that I believe you are the best that we have in our community. So thank you. You are the best S tier rank 1 commentator that we have in our community. So it is a pleasure to have you here with us.
That is way too kind. Way too kind. I wouldn't have anything to commentate if you all weren't doing incredible, tournaments, if you weren't doing so much for the community, genuinely. So I can't say thank you enough to all of you, whether you're playing or, you're putting on amazing productions or you're doing this podcast, right? Like, it's just incredible to me.
Yeah, I hope we can keep seeing you be involved in the future of PvP. Obviously, we have the map coming out on Tuesday, and that's kind of cool. There's tournaments coming up, which are I believe we're going to announce one soon, maybe. Look forward to that. Spoilers. Will you be still, actively... it's kind of weird, right? Because it's kind of like you've reached a pinnacle, but CC is hopefully going to keep changing and getting better only from here. Will you keep involving yourself hopefully in the future of the PvP scene for like community tournaments, or will you just be playing it by ear? Are you always a message away for it?
Yeah, no, I peaked, so I'm done forever. That's pretty much the end.
Oh no,
It's over.
I'm kidding. Please hit me up anytime. Like, if I'm able to do it, if I have the energy and my schedule is good, like, I love it. I love it. Like, I would love to be a part of things. And I mean, yes, the CCRC stage was incredible, but honestly, I genuinely love just casting even small community things just as much, because that's the lifeblood of the community. And just being able to be with people and enjoy it, like, it's incredible to me. This is something that I haven't talked about yet either, so it's kind of me merging a topic that I wanted to talk about into this question, so please forgive me for this. But in particular too, I feel an extra passion on top of the passion that I just have for PvP, to also just be representation in the space, in the sense that women in esports or gender minorities in esports or in competitive game modes are not as visible. And one of the things that was truly, maybe this is maybe another part to the question of what was one of the most profound things from the experience, which was that even before I left for London, I got emails from people, anonymous people, some specific people, others. Some of the most touching words I think I've ever read, about what it meant to have a woman up commentating, and what it meant to not always feel as seen in the esports space. And as wild as this sounds, and anybody please correct me if I'm wrong, but from everything that I know and that I've seen, I was the first female commentator to take the stage in all the years that they've done Fanfest. And that is wild to me. There it is again. It's wild to
Absolutely.
me. So yes, I want to be out there, and I want to do this, and I encourage others, whoever you are, if you think that there's not a space for you in PvP, to go out and to make that space. And I encourage those who can to empower those who aren't always as welcome in those spaces, because I love it here and I love the community, and I want people to love this game and game mode as much as I do. So all that to say, yes, if there's stuff I can do, I will do it. And if I can be on that stage or in anything, I would love to be a part of it. So.
God, that's wonderful.
Surely, thank you for anything and everything that you've done for the scene thus far. Socks, did you have any final questions for us?
Yeah, my final question for you was just to ask, like, what do you want to do after this? Now that it's all been said and done, what do you have any plans, or what's going on with you?
Ooh. Relax for a little bit.
Yeah.
just
relaxing.
Just a little bit. And then I just want to hit it hard, anything. Like I said, anything that I can be a part of, I want to. Casting has become such a huge thing for me that I didn't expect when I started streaming, but has become honestly one of my greatest joys to do, to prepare for, to learn. I have just fallen in love with it. So I want to be up there for anything. If they're doing that world, if they're gonna do a CCRC world, please get me up there. I mean, it would be an unbelievable dream to be at JP Fanfest, just round out the trio, and to be able to do any coverage for things like that, any other future events that Square wants to do, but as well, like you mentioned, any other games. I mean, I'm always looking for new titles, new games, new things to add in, new events to learn about, and being able to be a part of those larger scale events. I do a lot for Guild Wars 2 as well, and I would just love to see them continue to develop their live broadcasting and entertainment and any kind of tournament scene or anything, because it's even sparser there than it is here in
Really?
some regards, as far as like the live streamed content goes. Yeah. And I love working with them, and I love, like, a lot of the ArenaNet employees are genuinely some of the most wonderful people I've ever met, and people I call friends. So like, there's just a lot, and anything that I can do to just continue to make the space fun and engaging for folks, be it things like LunarCon, the World Races, funny dumb meme stuff, anything. So yeah, that's really my hope, that I get booked for a lot of gigs next year, get to continue my own content as well, get to hopefully be asked back for the Dawn Trail media tour after doing the Endwalker media tour, and to get to do more and anything else that Square Enix wants on any stage in any region. So
well, yeah.
We don't have all the time in the world, unfortunately. Thank you so much for being on here with us. Like, truly, like, we couldn't have asked for probably a better guest at the moment. And as Ariane stated, we've definitely gone over time here. Do you want to let people know where people can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, though I go by Rook, you can find me at Rookuri in most places online, and that is spelled ROOKURI. On Twitch, that's where you can find me. I'm usually live on my own channel 2 to 3 days a week. I do 2 podcasts, so the Lightbringers podcast for Guild Wars 2 on Jabber Unity's channel on Fridays, and then Aetherite Radio with Gamer Escape on Saturdays over on twitch.tv Gamer Escape. I add extra days in, extra appearances, all kinds of stuff. Recently, a lot of different casting gigs, so you can always find the calendar there, or on my Discord that you can find through that as well. I also do content on YouTube, and I upload a lot of my story, lore, and reaction content up there, and I will also be uploading to accompany the live NA reaction footage that I did, the EU footage of the keynote, and our live responses in the audience vibe and everything from that I captured on my phone very professionally. But I'll also be uploading all of the future story content and things there, and hopefully any media tour footage, if, again, that ends up being something that I get to do again. And
they better.
I hope, right?
They better do it. You are a gem in our community, damn it. You are a gem.
But you can also find me on Twitter until it dies at Rookuri_. So yeah, those are kind of the main areas, and hopefully also just on whatever other events we get to do for PvP in 14.
And before you go, I want to fanboy a little bit.
Oh no!
Since we first saw you on Wolves League, me and Merlin have been such huge fans of you, and watching all of your success and your professionalism, and watching you just command the stage has been so awesome to watch. It's truly wonderful. We're huge fans of you, and seeing you have this awesome success, seeing you have up on the stage, it's just been so wonderful to see. And it's honestly kind of surreal talking to you right now, because I am actually a really big fan of you and your work. So yeah, this has been wonderful, and I just want to thank you so much for being here and being a part of our community.
No, I am so bad at taking compliments, so don't let any of my deflections dismiss that.
I understand.
No, thank you. I truly thank you so much. Because really honestly, a lot of times I just feel like I am just one person yelling loudly about how much I love video games, and the fact that there are other people who love them too, and that any of my yelling matters to them in whatever way, is still one of the greatest gifts of my entire life. I'm so grateful to be able to do this, and like I said earlier, I am just as full of admiration for everything that you and the greater PvP community do. I mean, I was literally just like praising, like, these graphics. Oh my god, that transition! Can I have this video? How about that cute picture you put on Twitter? Not to mention just the events you coordinate. I mean, even hearing you commentate is amazing. And like both of you, like Merlin and Tox, like, the level to which you are involved in this is something that is a huge benefit to our community as well. And the fact that you take your time out to do this and create this is just as amazing. So let me fangirl back at both of you. but you do matter just as much to me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see in chat, shout out your Taylor.
Oh yeah, the red suit. I was a big fan of the red suit. I can't say that enough. You wore that thing. God damn.
Thank you. Yes, I got that on Etsy, actually. Etsy. It was tailored on Etsy by Laura Gaelic, I think is the shop name. Laura Gaelic.
Your designer.
I mean, I am so glad everybody liked the suit because I felt amazing and powerful in it, and I haven't taken it off since I got home. No,
Jesus Christ. Okay. Unfortunately, I do have to stop us there, otherwise we'll end up going. I know we can just keep talking about PvP and the scene as a whole. Thank you once again, Rook. Make sure to check out all of her social links. That will be in the description and the channel links in the chat. Make sure to follow her. She's an amazing person. If you're not already following her, what are you doing? But until next time, thank you again, Rook.
Thank you so much. Bye.
See ya.
Easy. Holy moly.
Yeah, that was sick. Oh my god.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Definitely.
I hope you guys loved that as much as we did. Yeah, no.
Now to fanboy back at Socks. We did announce our Unify solo queue tournament. If you haven't already signed up, I believe it's already jam-packed, but make sure to sign up anyways. I don't know when the exact deadline is, but we'll make sure to get that up on screen, or check out our super site, which is, I will be linking in the chat, actually.
Yeah, please sign up for that. Sign up for that. It's going to be sick. High-level solo queue. That's what you've all been waiting for. It's going to be, we have a lot of people, the best of the best, working on this. They're going to have the best of the best at every step of this. So get involved with that. It is opt-in to be a team captain, so you don't have to worry about having that forced upon you. We're going to have all the leaders of the big PvP discords are going to be looking over balancing the team. So the teams are going to be balanced. I guarantee that. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to look awesome. I don't know if you saw the trailer, but it was like a fighting game. It's going to look badass. Okay?
Let's go ahead and play that trailer. How about that? Let's just play it.
Yeah, do we have it? Do we have it?
I believe we do.
We don't have it. All right, hold on, wait. Wait, hold on. All right. That's fine. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty sick. Please sign up for that. We still have time. Maybe Apollyon could download that really fast. We could see. Okay. How about you go ahead and talk, Merlin? What do you got to say, Merlin?
Is a link directly to the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please. Really quick, if we can go back to the screen, we have a slide with a picture of the winners of the CCRC, Team Hopeless. If we can pull that picture back up real quick, please.
Yeah.
So
this was
congratulations to Team Hopeless, which consists of, and forgive me if I'm butchering you guys' name, Elunia, Arlena, Tyr Nariak, Deadrise Mutamba, Cliff Sanzo, Tavius Latulta, Miyu Edelfelt, and Weekender Girl. Huge congratulations to them for being our 2023 EU CCRC champions. Huge congratulations to them. I'm sure they're more than happy, and they put on an amazing performance in the finals. The finals against Fish was extremely awesome to watch. Make sure you check that out. Do you want to go off and talk about our calendar, Socks, for what's coming ahead?
Yeah, first I wanted to mention it was pretty awesome watching those finals, and then it was just cool seeing like the faces behind the people there. So that was really cool to see, like Lil Wu. You know, everyone loves Lil Wu. It's just so cool to see people existing in real life. Anyway, so we got a lot of events coming up for you. Rival Wings, please participate in Rival Wings. PV Primal is going to be hosting them throughout the week. All of these events, as you can see here, Rival Wings is the most fun that you can have with the PvP right now, in my opinion. On Fridays, we have the CC Madness Team Scrims that you can sign up and participate with. And then on the 17th, coming up, we have the Blue Academy with Revival PvP collab. That's a Blue Mage event. It's going to be hilarious. On the 18th and 19th, we have the Primal Pause Rookie Rumble CC tournament. It's for mid-range teams, mid-range skill level teams that haven't won tournaments are going to have the opportunity to get more experience with amongst each other. That's a collaboration between PV Primal and Paws and Claws, so that's upcoming as well. And of course, as we mentioned before, we have the Universes tournament, which is the high level solo queue Crystalline Conflict tournament. Which do we have that, Apollyon? Do we have the trailer for that?
In the chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But, on Sundays we also have the CC Madness pickup scrim, so that's like solo queue esque.
Yeah, and
lots of stuff.
It's a PV Primal and Paws and Claws are working on that Rumble. The tags already went up, I believe. The signups are already out there. Make sure to check out those respective Discords for those signups. Also, quick shout out. Congratulations to oh god, they changed their team name all the time. The winners of PNC Global 2. What was their name this time? Sox, do you remember?
PNC Global 2. Oh fuck.
Jay's team. Jay,
wait, hold on. I casted it. Hold on, I'm trying to remember. Wait. Guangdong Tigers.
Thank you.
Guangdong Tigers. Ni hao.
Tomo, Manabu, Jay, SJ, Original. Am I missing someone?
That was crazy.
Yeah, those finals were insane. And congratulations to Paws and Claws for hosting another fantastic tournament. Make sure, again, to be checking out their Discords for any future events.
That whole event was nutty.
I believe that covers everything we wanted to talk about today. Of course, we're wrapping up a little faster here because we are over the hour mark. We're not trying to break our production team here, so...
Yeah,
am I forgetting anything, Sucks?
We're just trying to show off the little trailer right now as we're stalling for a second, just because I made it and I want to show it off, goddammit!
You deserve it. Dude, that trailer is awesome. Can we get that on screen?
Alright, get ready for this. Ready. Alright. We're stalling. That was pretty cool talking to Rookuri.
Gosh.
I wasn't joking about that. I'm a huge fan, so it was cool to actually meet somebody I was a fan of. And like talk to her. I've talked to her before and during some of our events that we've hosted, but like to actually like talk and be able to ask her things that I have wanted, because like she really did live the dream that because I'd want to be a CCRC caster, but like for it to, I have been blessed, TJ Crimson. That's true. It's something I would really love to do.
It goes to show that Rook is also just a fan, just like the rest of us, right? So
yeah, exactly. It was cool to hear her talk about like her passion. Thank you, Lithy. Lithy's in the chat. Lithy casted with Rookuri. That was really cool. Yep. Oh, here we go.
We did it. Oh, we did not do it.
Oh no! Hold on. All right, pay no attention to that. Yeah. All right, here we go. Wait. Here it comes. Okay. How about that shit, right? So that voice in there is actually my voice pitched down. That's kind of hilarious, right? But that music, the music in there, that is a remix of the
Plus
what's it called? Yeah, that's a remix done by Plus One, Plus the One. So yeah, that's pretty sick, right?
Yeah,
that guy's the OG. Continuum. Yeah, the Fractal Continuum remix by Plus One. So yeah, that guy's been a huge inspiration for me. So it's been wonderful to kind of carry on his spirit a little bit. I try to do my best with that. So yeah, please sign up for the Universes tournament. Sign up for that, participate in PvP, And yeah, thank you for watching this. And if you want to rewatch it in the future, we're gonna have it posted on YouTube and hopefully on Spotify. We're gonna figuring out how to do that. This shit's hard, man. Producing content is actually kind of hard, so patience.
But that just about wraps up, I think, everything for us over here at Unafy. Thank you, Socks, again, for joining me, dude. This was awesome.
Hell yeah, bro!
Make sure to hit follow, subscribe, check out our YouTube links, check out all of our super links. And super hype. Looking forward to seeing everyone at the Unafy Solo Queue tournament. It's going to be a ton of hype. And from everyone here, I believe we're ready to sign us off. So, have a good one, guys. Take it easy.
See you in hell.